Got that heat kicking on. Oh yeah. So if you've been following along, you've seen that I have the S14 fairly well stripped out. But today we're gonna take it even further. The car still has brake lines, fuel lines, the wipers, doors, glass, all that stuff is coming out today. And I'm gonna start cutting into it a bit further, getting a better idea of what I wanna do. I just got back from PRI. It was my first experience at PRI in Indianapolis. And if you've never been, you gotta go. If you are into cars and the newest technology and innovation that's coming out from all these companies, you got to check it out. It doesn't matter if it's road racing, drifting, circle track, drag racing, it's all there. So it's very cool to see that, and also all the new tools coming out. So for me as a fabricator, you get this whole fab spot which comes out with new tools and everything. So it's really neat to see what's coming out and the direction that racing is headed. You get to see a bunch of cool builds, all kinds of stuff like that. I was very excited to be there. And fortunately, I got to talk to quite a few new partners. So this season, I will have more partners in the shop and on the cars. So I will announce that very soon, as I'm very excited for the 2025 season and who's coming on board. With that being said, it's almost Christmas time for the holidays, and I gotta get a lot done before I leave for the holidays. Not feeling great. Kind of under the weather, but that's not going to stop me today, as I got to break into this and start cutting everything out of it. Plans are going to move along quickly, so I got to keep working, got to keep on schedule. Anyway, let's get to it. Like I said earlier, one of the things I want to do is get all the glass out of the car. I'm going to start cutting into it. I don't want to damage any of it. And if you've heard me speak about this before, start with something easy. So I'm going to go ahead and get the wipers, wiper motor, all that jazz out of here. All right, one down. It's a stubborn little guy. All right, I can't imagine there's much holding this cowl in. I don't think there really is. Very impressed. There's not even one bolt in this thing. There's some aluminum tape up here. That was the culprit in starting a bit of a couple problems. I had a hole here that I didn't know was there until it was too late. It was raining at one of the drift Appalachias, and the rain got down through there and hit most of my wiring and relays, and that's what started this dramatic change in wiring and kind of what sparked me wanting to redo almost everything in the car. So I got to get all of this stuff out because I totally intend on painting the chassis, but first and foremost, I'm going to probably end up sealing up the firewall and trying to figure out just exactly what I need for holes in the dash and the firewall, because I don't want anything coming inside the cabin. I want it all sealed up, and that is for the entire cabin. I want front, rear, everything sealed up. I don't want a bunch of tire smoke in the car. I had a huge problem with tire smoke this year. Once I got really chooching, it was kind of impeding my view. So do not want that, as I will be adding more power to this car. Simple as that. So some of you know this, some of you don't. With this style of vice grip pliers, on the end here, you have an Allen key. So you can put your Allen in there and tighten it up a bit more. So if you have struggles and it's really hard to grip, like I'm having right now, I have to clamp this really tight to get this off. So you can get it comfortably clamped and then do your finish tightening with this, as it makes it a lot easier to do. And when you want to take it off, you loosen it as well, so it doesn't have that quick slap that kind of hurts when you do it. So you would just put this on, tighten it up a bit. I usually get it to where I have a little bit of bite, and then I'm able to really tighten that clamp down like so to give it some extra bite, and that should help me break that free, just like so. And now that that's broken free, I can use a normal tool. But getting this off, you know, if you normally try and pull that off, it's really tight and it'll hurt kind of when you take it off. So you can loosen that up and it makes it really easy to come off. So if you didn't know that, you can use that next time. We're kind of getting the brake master out of here. All the lines are disconnected. So I just want to get the master out of here. I will also take the booster out. I like having a brake booster, so I'll probably end up leaving this on here. But I do want to take it off because I'm going to have to shave some things and paint. And it can be annoying, be in the way. So let's just go ahead and get it out of here. When I was first getting into this, I used to use my sister for stuff like this, as she had a bit smaller hand. I'd break it free and be like, hey, grab that for me. But since then, I've learned to contort my hand. Okay, master is free. And leaking. Let this sit in the drip pan. Yucky. So you can see what's still left here. I gotta get this booster out, get the clutch master out, and then power steering, fuel lines. That's all coming out. I'm gonna leave this steering connected and the subframe in place so I can move it around. But other than that, all that stuff's coming out, and then I'm gonna take out these brake lines, and it should be pretty well cleaned up. I wanna be able to patch up more of these kind of holes. These don't look great to me. That was just a temporary fix. So I'm gonna just go ahead and smooth these out, make it look nicer, and then I'm gonna cut out this trans tunnel for the new transmission coming in. Another quick tip. If you're getting into a hard spot like this where the clutch master is, and you have to use like a little wobbly joint, sometimes they're a little too loose and can be frustrating. What I do is take a bit of electrical tape and wrap it around this joint, and it'll make it progressively stiffer. So you're able to kind of contort it to where you want to, and it won't just be falling down like that. And fortunately for me, I don't really need that in this situation, but it's a good thing to remember if you need it. Just electrical tape around the joint. Old mechanic tip. Clutch master out. All right. Getting this booster out. A bit of an annoying thing to get to. I like the feel of stock brakes, so I'm very unsure of what I want to do. I may keep the booster, I may keep everything here. I may just upgrade pads, as I have Skyline front brakes. And there's the booster. Might need a new one. This one worked fine, but I don't know. Maybe time to refurbish. All right, looking pretty well cleaned up. A few more things. All right, so I got quite a few things stripped off the car. I got the brake lines off, the fuel lines off, all the power steering, the windshield wipers, the deck lid is off, and I started to take off the rear D-Max wing, but I can't get it off because I don't have a window removal tool, or I tried to use a TIG rod. Nothing really worked for me, so I ordered a window removal kit. Hopefully that comes tomorrow, and I can yank that thing off. I want to be able to yank on it while it's on the car. I don't want to pull the windshield off and then not be able to remove it or break it. So I'm going to wait till tomorrow for that. I'm starting to feel like crap anyway. So I'm going to take the night off, rest, and then come back at it strong tomorrow, get all the windows out, and then start cutting into it. See you tomorrow. All right, I had a bit of a rest and I'm feeling like a new man. Well, not really. I actually feel a lot worse. But it's not gonna fix itself. So back to work. I had to run up to Harbor Freight, which killed me about 2 hours because I'm not close to anything. But I had to get a window removal kit in order to take off this D-Max roof wing. I don't want to ruin it, so I put on 2 really good strips of the 3M tape. It's not going to come off easy. I'm going to yank that thing off first, and then I'll get to removing the rear glass, as that's kind of where I want to start cutting some stuff. So let's see if this works. All right, so right up to Harbor Freight, got this nifty little deal to remove the rear wing. Like I said, there's 2 nice 3M strips here, so this thing's really on. I tried to get it off yesterday with some knives and whatever, but I had nothing to get in there that wouldn't damage the roof or the glass. And realistically, what I'm worried about is the D-Max roof wing, because it's kind of hard to get a hold of these days. It would just take a long time, and I want to keep this. So I'm going to try and use this little wire deal to saw it off. So let's see if I can get this to work. Like I said, I kind of already made a little bit of progress with it, mainly in this corner that I could access, but see if I can get this sucker through. Oh, we're off to a good start. Dropped it. Come on, baby. I need pliers. Huh. That works quite nice. That thing out of there. All right, this might be kind of hard to see, but this has like a little groove right here. So you'd slip that through into that groove and then into this pin, that pinhole there, and that'll pull it tight. So I'm able to use it as a saw. So it's kind of hard to see, but let me see if I can just get that in there. Realistically, I just want enough length that I can manage pulling it. Pull it fairly tight, and now I have a pretty good grip. I'm gonna get some gloves so I don't cut my hands, and then we'll try it out. The car is a little bit unstable on the jack stands because I have damage to my pinch welds. So one jack stand's kind of just Bluetooth and hanging out over there, but I don't think I'm gonna fall. All right, let's see. Oh, this is so much better than what I was doing before. It's gonna work like a dream. Didn't like that. Some little rock climbing techniques here. If this bus free, I'm gonna eat shit. All right, back on solid ground. All right, feel like I'm all the way through it. Let's see if she'll come off. Boom, nice and easy. There you go. Protected my D-Max roof wing. So I'll put this in safe storage, worry about that later. Let's get the rear window out. Next up, I have this little guy. Another little Harbor Freight item. You can get this at pretty much any Harbor Freight or auto supply. You can buy them on Amazon, whatever. But it's just got this little hook here. This little 90-degree guy. You'll put that in the window, and then you can have this grip, which will go either way, and you can pull it along the window, hopefully take away all the glue holding it in place. But we'll see. We'll see how it works. I've never used one before. Probably start from here. Whew, it takes a lot more force than I would have thought, but it does work. It's a real dangerous section here. Just trying to get this in here and not damage my car. All right. Much easier to pull when my feet are on the ground. Oh yeah, now we're talking. That feels much better. Gotta turn this heater off. It's actually hot in here now. It's a pretty cool little tool. Pretty steady to use since you can use two hands. It does require kind of a lot of force. I'm not 100% certain that this is cutting all the way through. I might have to do it a couple times, but it seems like it's doing a pretty damn good job. It's definitely wearing me out, I'll tell you that. All right, pretty much all the way around. Probably have to make another round and then it should come out, I hope. Clean it up a little bit. I am gonna do Lexan in the rear. So this is going away. I wanna keep it intact in case somebody needs one. So if anybody needs rear glass for an S14, it's nice and intact. But good clean surface, so these suction cups will work. Make sure that's all clean as well. Some short guy stuff here. Oh, I hope this works. Seems to be stuck pretty well. Oh, I got it now. Bingo, please don't fall off. Don't let me fall. What I didn't think about is where the fuck to put this. Where do I put this? Well, for right now, it's going right here. All right, now I got access to the rear here. A lot of this is coming out. I'm still undecided if I want to use a fuel cell or the stock tank. I just keep going back to knowing that there's a lot of benefits to using the stock tank. But regardless, this rear deck has to come out, so I'm gonna start investigating where I wanna go with that. I don't wanna cut too much away. All right, so starting off, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this stuff. I don't need the trunk to be opened up and down. I'm gonna replace that with a pin system, but I wanna have like a nice slick pin system. I don't want anything that's too janky, but remove this stuff out of the way, and then this rear deck up here, I'd like to take out. But I'm gonna cut that out in sections as I don't wanna remove all of it. I will have a rear radiator is what I'm planning on. So I will have a portion of the window that is taken out, and a lot of the guys will take out some of this area here where the stock fuel tank is in order to either fit the radiator or fit a fuel cell. But I said before, I'm undecided if I want to use a fuel cell or not, and that has to remain if I'm going to use this stock fuel location. So the other things will be cutting out this trunk area. I'm probably gonna cut out the spare tire well and start there and move outwards. So once I start there and see a bit of the bones of what's happening in between the frame rails, then I get a better idea of where I want to cut out. I don't want to remove the entire tub for the wheels, so there are some brackets that I definitely do not need. I am going to cut this back end off, which pains me to say, but I'm going to do it just to be on the safe side if I have a crash, that I can replace everything at the track. I don't have to go back to a body shop. So we're going race car, but I still want to keep a street style. So got to think about where I want to cut, maybe straighten out a few things. Looks like there's a couple little bends, but we'll start up here on this top deck and get to cutting some of that out. Okay, we've got to the part where I've been dreading this for a while. This is something, let me be honest with you. I hate this. I hate this part. I don't want to do it. It's something I've been fighting for a long time. This is a perfectly good shell, perfectly good car, and I'm going to cut it up. And that's very hard for me, being an old school guy. I really like the metal body. I've always loved having a really nice street car, and making a race car out of something that's already pretty nice is really hard for me to do. But it needs to be done. I think I've talked it over with a few of my friends, and most of them were like, hey man, you gotta have a really good crash first before you start cutting that up and do something. And I have actually had a pretty big crash in this car when I first drove the car. It was painful for me the first time I drove it. As I tried to show off at the burn yard, I was the first guy out on track. I hit a little bit of the marbles and I went in really hard, crashed this entire side end pretty hard. And it was painful because I had put so much work into making this car something that I really liked, which was a really nice street car. But luckily my friends at Hadley Auto Body were able to get this thing back and looking fresh, and they did a great job. This is all the metal work. I mean, there's hardly any Bondo in here. They did really nice metal work to get this back to looking great. But my fear is that this has been holding me back. And it's something that I've gone back and forth with for a long time in my drifting career, is having a car that I care about too much. And that is gonna hold me back from doing what I wanna do, which is really show off some skills. And this next season, I wanna drive a lot harder. So by forcing myself to cut this off and have something that is a little bit more replaceable if I crash it. If I am to crash this right now, I would be upset. It might even end my day at the track. I want to be able to get back out there and act like nothing happened. It's just like a skateboard mentality. You got to keep trying. You might fall, you might get hurt, but you got to get back up and try it again. Same thing in drifting. So I'm going to have to force myself to get to the point to cut this out today, and I'm here. So I think in order to elevate my driving, my skill set, I need to go ahead and do this and step it up. I still want to keep and retain this nice, clean street car, but make it a race car, So I'm trying to find a balance in between there. I don't want to go all the way, but I think I'm going to have to in order to reach my goals as a driver. So getting into this, I'm going to start with the rear deck lid, and that will get me set up for the rear radiator and things like that. And I'm still undecided on what I want to use for the rear quarters, but I do have a good idea of what I want for a crash structure to build out. I'll make multiple different bumpers and stuff, so if I am to hit something at the track, I can pop those off. Everything will pop back out as it'll be fiberglass or whatever I decide, and then I'm back on track. That's kind of the whole thought process behind this, and it pains me to do it, as it's just another shell, and these are kind of going down. They're getting harder and harder to find, but I think if I can retain everything in between, I still keep the real love of the car and keep some nice quality, good looking street parts on it, it'll still make me happy. So with that all being said, let's start cutting. I'm aware I have a chrome socket on this thing. Deal with it. All right, what I'm gonna do is start over here, cut these, and then I'm gonna cut along this little trim line here, and then I'll cut along the shock towers with the body saw. So I'll cut this out with this big old saw here, just so it has the rigidity. If I cut near the shock towers first, then this thing's gonna be flapping all over the place. So I want a good even cut as I'm gonna creep up on this area. I still wanna have a little bit of a deck just so I can make a better support. I do have to make a firewall for all this stuff. So gotta keep that in mind. But this structure is gonna come out right now. All right, now we move to these structures down in here. And I'll cut that from the inside. There's that rear structure gone. All right, now I have that back portion out. You can see that I have a lot more space to deal with. So having the rear deck gone, I cut fairly close to this here. What I'm gonna do now is drill out these spot welds. It's a little hard to see. There's some here, okay? So we take out these spot welds and we pop this off for a nice clean finish. And then I'm gonna edge up on all this stuff here. I'll probably trim this out underneath. And then I left this structure here just because I have an idea for the rear radiator that might work. So I'll edge up on that and clean it up as I go along. But I'm just gonna keep this kind of factory edge for now. But you can see I have a lot more access to the fuel cell and definitely more access to the cage, which I wish I had this access when I was actually building it. Most of the cages I build, the glass is not in the car, but I didn't have enough time before the event to do that. So it's been kind of a pain in the ass to do it, and I got it done, and it doesn't look bad, actually. Now that I'm looking at it from here, I got to everything. It's fully welded. I would have made it look a lot nicer had I had the access to it. So anyway, let's drill out these spot welds and keep moving on. Here's something nobody told me about for a long time. I don't know why it took me so long to discover it, but if you're in the same boat, it's little hole cutters, right? Rotor broach, very necessary to have. If you need to drill some precise holes, get some spot welds out, definitely need a kit like this. It's worth the money. Totally get one. It'll help you out. If you've never heard of it before, just do it. I don't know why, but it took me like 15 years into my career to figure out that these were a necessary item. Punch each individual spot weld where all the metal is joined from the factory, and then that'll give a nice groove for this guy to stay in and cut that weld out around it. So I could just pop all that stuff out. You don't have to do any excess cutting and grinding and all that stuff. You'll just grind the spot welds down when you're done. So very nice to have. If you guys are new to this and you haven't used anything like this yet, definitely put that on your list. So try and be right in the middle, put a little divot, and that is gonna hold this right in place when you're trying to drill. So you can drill out a spot weld really easily. So we'll go around, mark all these, hit them a couple times, make sure it's nice and deep so you can see it. And then we'll clean this up real nice. So drill all these out, pop it off, grind everything flush. Here's another thing I wish somebody would have told me. Tab magic. Earlier on, I just would drill willy-nilly, but man, get some tab magic, put it on your bits, put it on your drill bits. They're gonna last a lot longer. It makes it easier to cut through things. So just go buy this. You can get it on Amazon, man. It's not that expensive. Grab it. It'll make your bits last longer. It'll make everything easier to cut. So grab some of that. I wish somebody would have told me that when I started. Simple as that. Just 2 layers here. See that? I already popped that free. Super simple. Just like that. You're just drilling the spot welds out. All right. Pop it off. I don't want to drill too hard. I don't want to drill too far. I'd rather err on the side of not enough. All right, clean up the spot welds. Actually, let me show you. Let me show you what it looks like first. All right, so you see, it just leaves this nice little spot for the spot weld. And all I gotta do is go around and just clean them up a little bit. So, very nice finish. And all that's out of there. We'll just clean this up a bit and then start thinking of some other stuff. Oh, I've never stood here before in my car. I'm already catching benefits to this. Got a nice little place to sit and work. Boy, I wish I did this earlier. Mainly for the cage, but gotta do what you gotta do, you know? All right, like I always say, clean up your edges. So I gotta clean this stuff up real quick. Swish the Scotch-Brite. It's actually kind of comfy. El Camino. All right, well, that's all cut out in the rear deck. I said before I will probably inch up on this as I come up with a better plan on what I want to do with the rear radiator and stuff. But for now, I'm happy with how cleaned up it is. I got access to work on more things, access to cut more out of the rear, which I totally plan to do next time. So that's going to do it for me on this one because I'm not feeling great. My sniffles are coming back. And also, it is the holidays. So I'm going to be gone next week for the holidays. I'm going to go visit my family, play with my nephew, and just chill out. So I won't be uploading next week, which pains me because I've been trying to do weekly content. But I will be back after the holidays to just start ripping this thing apart and really get this to the next level. So while I'm out and I don't have something to post, if you haven't watched some older episodes, go watch those for me. I know you haven't watched everything. Please go watch them for me. And if you could, if you're with your family and you're chilling out, share it. Share my videos. It would be greatly appreciated as I'm trying to make this small channel a not so small channel. And I want to be able to do this for you guys. I will have updates coming soon as new partners. My website will be up soon and I will be putting up some merch. But if you could, in the meantime, please share, comment, subscribe. As I know a lot of you haven't subscribed. If you enjoy the content, help me out as I want to keep doing this. I really hope you guys have a great holiday. It doesn't matter what you celebrate. If you're celebrating, if you're not celebrating, go have fun with your friends. Get in the garage, do something, whatever. I hope everything's great for you guys. I will be back shortly. Not this week, but next week. I'll be back. Thanks for watching. Now I got to clean this up and edit this so you can watch it tomorrow, and I gotta leave. I also gotta be very careful because the car is way lighter now, and I don't want it to fall off the jack stands. Thank you guys for the support.